All right, so today we're going to start from importing data to Excel. And now, when we see this word importing data to Excel, that means how could we bring the data into Excel? Now, there is a lot of way we can bring the Excel, or we can export the data from Excel to another software. So normally, Excel is kind of the basic thing where we do our preliminary work. So when you start analyzes the data, or when you're going to analyze any information, we start with Excel. So for example, let's say if we work for a company in the payroll, and all these employees gross pay, net pay, everything we're going to analyze first in the Excel. And after that, let's say our Excel analysis is done, and after that we move this information to the software, for example QuickBook, or for example Zero. There's a lot of bookkeeping software we use to export the information from Excel and import to that software. Now, the main point here is Excel is kind of the basic recording place where we start first time recording. And in Excel, obviously, like more or less like every single organization, especially the finance organization, they have to have Excel on the finance office to analyze the data, and after that they can export the data and import to the relevant department. For example, let's say if you are the person who work in a practice, and the practice means like if you are accountant and if you provide services to the client, and let's say to prepare the accounts for the client you use software. Now there are different type of software. For example, let's say you use TaxCal, or let's say you use VT. So these two are very common software to prepare the tax accounts for the limited company. Or maybe let's say we use tax filer. Any of the software you use, every single software we have a built-in option to import the information from the Excel. So any software we have, even for the bookkeeping, for example, the QuickBook, for example, Zero, every single software, they have a built-in system from where we can export or import the data from Excel, or we can export the data into Excel. Even, for example, any payroll software and accounting software, if we like to export the data from that software, the first and the main option they ask, are you going to convert the data into Excel or CSV or PDF? So the most popular one is the Excel one. So if you like to export any data, we always export on the Excel. Now, here on the spreadsheet on the Excel, we have a very easy way to move the information. Normally, what we do, we copy and paste. Now, there is a lot of way we can copy and paste the data. You can link the data, or if you bring the data from another place. For example, we have a data in the Microsoft Word, and we want to bring this information to Excel. So what we can do, we can copy the information from there, and we can paste it on the Excel. Now, I'm sure more or less all of us, we know how to copy and paste. So on the home section, you have a copy, and you can use the keyboard. The shortcut here is Control C. This is the quickest way. So you just select the data. If you need the whole range, you select the whole worksheet and you enter Control and C. So that will copy the whole information. And after that, the place you like to paste, you just go there and click, and you just do Control V. Or you can do your right click and you can paste the data. It's quite easy, and that is the one we use everyday life. So copy and paste is not something we are expecting to learn in this level, because we know that's very easy. That's we learn uh, uh, like when you started the Excel. So this is one of the way they said like you can import the data to Excel, but this is not something we'll discuss for long, because we already know how to copy and paste. Now, there are a few things maybe we have done before, you have noticed, like the paste. There are a few ways you can paste. You can paste with the formulas, so that this paste will be connected to the last worksheet, or maybe you can paste with the number. So let's say if I like to paste the data and I don't want any link to the previous worksheet, then I can right click, and on the paste section I can choose 1 to 3. So if I choose 1 to 3, that means the one I'm pasting, that will be only independent information, and that will be not linked with the previous worksheet from where I bring this data here. So it's very important to understand, because sometimes you copy the information. Let's say I use a formula VLOOKUP, and by using this formula VLOOKUP, and I bring this information from another worksheet. Now I paste it to another worksheet. Now I thought like I have the data because I paste it and I can see the data, and I delete the previous worksheet or the old worksheet. So what will happen, as soon as I delete the previous worksheet and the old worksheet, what will happen, all this data I pasted here, that will be gone, because that is a link to your previous worksheet. So if we don't want this, what we do the special paste. Special paste means you click the right side of your mouse and you just select the special paste, or you can select number 1 to 3 paste. So that will take you as a special paste, and in that case, you really don't have to lose the data. Okay, let's have a look the next point what we have here. The next point we have, that is called changes in assumption and what if analysis. Now, what if analysis is not a very uh, common thing that we use every day, but you might need it if you work in a company where the client or the or the people who dealing with you, they involve with a different sort of loan or mortgage. For example, if you are the person who work in a mortgage company, maybe this formula will be very useful for you. Or maybe if you work in a bank and you deal with the loan, long-term loan to the client, maybe this one will be very helpful for you. So what if formula tell us if I change any assumption, when I change any assumption. For example, let's say I went to the bank and I said I like to take a loan for 20 years. So I like to take a loan for 20 years and 20,000 pound, and the interest rate is 10%. It's just the example. So I like to take a loan for 20 years, 20,000 pound, and the interest rate is 10%. So how much will be the monthly repayment? So this one will tell us exactly. There is a calculator. So let's say the bank manager said to you, you have to pay 200 pound. You have to pay 200 pound per month. So the bank manager said you have to pay 200 pound per month for 20 years to repay the 20,000 loan. Now let's say you decide your plan. So you change your plan. You said, okay, what if I paid not 200, let's say if I paid 250, I want to pay 50 pound extra every month so that my loan finish really quick. Now this one obviously decided by the you, so how much you can afford. Now if you really decide I can afford 50 pound extra and I want to pay 3,000, and how quickly the loan will be finished. So this one will be really useful for you if you use this what if analysis. So that's why they said changes in assumption. So for any reason, if you change the assumption, then the what if analysis will give you a different sort of result. So you can say, okay, uh, if it is 250, maybe you're going to finish 17 years. If you increase to 300, maybe you'll finish in 16 years. So it will give you the calculation in a second. The next thing is, like, you can see the summary from this analysis. So there is a sort of a requirement you have to put in the formulas, and they'll ask some information. If you can enter the right information, they will show you the result in a minute. Okay, let's have a look one of the example, and let's have a look how this what if function work. Let's read this bit quickly. It says, in chapter 3, we refer to the need to design a spreadsheet that changes assumption do not require major changes to the spreadsheet. In our costing exercise workbook, we set up two separate area of a spreadsheet, one for assumption and the opening balance, one for the calculation and the result. We could simply change the value of assumption cell to see how any changes in assumption affect the result. However, if we have more than one value of change, we want to see the result of the number of different assumption changes. we can use one of three what if functions. So that means the what if have three function. The what if have three function. We're going to see all of these three how it work. Okay, let's have a look. The first one is 4.1 data table. Data tables. So data table is a way to see different results by altering an input cell in a formula. You can create one or two variable data tables. So there are two information here. The first one, they said altering an input cell. So that means input cell is the main cell. So if I give the information to the input cell, the input cell will work out everything and give you the output result. So input cell is really important. And by altering means by changing. Altering means by changing. For example, let's say for this year interest rate is 10% and the next year maybe interest rate is 20%. So if I like to see what will be the impact on me, then I can change the interest rate, and I want to see what if the interest rate change from 10 to 20, what will be the impact on me, what will be the total repayable amount, what will be the interest payment per month, and what will be the capital payment per month. So I will be able to see everything by changing one or two variable. Now we understand the meaning of the variable. Variable is changing depends on the input information. So as soon as I change the input, my variable will go up and down. So it is exactly like the way we have calculated the variable cost. So variable cost change with the activity level. Okay, the next information we have here is says let's try creating a one variable data table. One variable. One variable data table means I'm going to change only one variable. I'm not going to change two. So what does that mean? That means, for example, we have a row and we have a column. So we have a row and we have a column. So let's say I'm going to change only the row, not the column. Or maybe I'm going to change the column, not the row. So what will be the overall impact? This is called one variable. When I say two variable, I mean I'm going to change the row and I'm going to change the column. This is called two variables. All right, let's have a look. This question. This one is saying, open the spreadsheet called mortgage. So this one we already have from the previous downloaded file. So from there should be a file called mortgage. Enter 1% to 10% in the cell E8 to N8 as shown below. So basically they are saying from here to here enter the information. So from 1% to 10%. So basically what is happening here, we can see we have interest rate, we have amount of loan, and the payable period, loan duration is 20 years. Now I like to see what happen if I change the interest rate from 10% to 9%, 8%, 7%, 6%. So if I change the interest rate, what will be the repayable amount every month? They already calculated the repayable amount here based on the information we have here. So we need to see what will be the impact if we change any information from here. So let's read this one. They said select cell D8 to N8. So from D8, from here to N8, they said select this information. Click data, what if analysis, and data table. So they said click data, what if analysis, and data table. So once you select that, they said here you want your data table to fill in the value in row 9. So you want to fill the information in value row number 9 based on the result if the value in cell 3. So what we have in the cell 3, we have the interest rate where to change to a different percentage. So that means if I change the interest rate from 10% to 9%, 8%, I like to see the all result. So choose the row input cell box and enter C3. So I have to choose something called row input cell and I have to enter C3. All right, so you should get the information like that. So we'll see if we see it or not. So you're going to practice by opening the Excel. After that, they said the table would looks better if the number were formatted in the same way as the first cell in D9. They said now we have a different number. It's like a decimal. So this one we have only two decimal, and this one we can say we have more than two. So they said if you want to format it, you can do that. So it will be look like two decimal for every single amount we have. So they said there is easy way to do it. You can select it, you can reduce the decimal, you can format the cell. But they said the easy way to do it, click Format Painter button on the clipboard area on the Home tab, and then click on the cell you wish to format. So there's something look like Paint button. They said click there, and after that you select that area, and it will be changed automatically. We'll see is it work or not. Then after that it says try it now. Click on the D cell and format the pane. And after that they said it will be change. So they said it will be look like after that. It will look like only two decimal after. All right. On the note section, they said if you double click on the format paint button, you can then click any number of the cell afterward to apply the same format. To stop, you can press skip. Okay, so you understand in Excel, if you want to stop any of the formulas, you can always press the skip. Skip means stop. Okay, they said now try two variable. Okay, we're going to do this one first, then maybe we're going to try the two variable. So let's open this one. They said open the question called mortgage. So let's try to find. I have already opened that. So let's find it out that. So we have, okay. So this information, so this is already opened one. So this is the information we have from the question. So it should be look like that. So they said if I open the question from here, so let me open the book. I have a book in front of me, so you should have your book because you cannot see the screen and the book at the same time. So let me quickly move that. I follow the step. What are they saying? Okay, so they said from here to here, they said select this range. So we did that. Now after that, they said go to data, click the data analysis. So I'm going to go data and what if analysis and data table. So I choose that. And now we are doing for the one variable, not two. So, well, I'm gonna just change only one, either row or either the column. So I have a two information here. They said row input cell, or they said column input cell. So either I can do the row or you can do the column. So here they said row input cell. They want us to click here with the input cell for the column. So that means that way. So this one we have here. So we can see the information we have here. They said on the sorry, this is the row we have the percentage 1, 2, 3, 4. That's on the row, it's not on the column. So you're going to put here, so on the row input cell, and they said click C3. So enter C3. So C3 is the interest rate. I think we can just click it, should be here. And after that, they said enter or press OK. So let's have a look. How does it work? Yeah. So as soon as I did that, it's changed. So it shows to me what will be the amount in 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%. So if my interest rate is more, that means my amount will be more. So if I'm interested 1%, then I have to pay 91 pound, 2%, 101, 3%, 110, 4%, 121, 5%, 131, 26%. So it's like depends. So you can increase more percentage. It's just example. So if my interest rate is change, then the amount will be also change. Now the next point, they said this one, the base one we have, that is based on only two decimal, and other one we can see we have more than two decimal. So they said you can change it by clicking the paint sign. So let's have a look. What is the paint sign? This on the home section there is something look like paint, so format the paint. So I said okay, we can do that. So you click here and click format the paint, and it's look like the paint signed with my cursor now. So they said select the whole range, so it will be changed automatically. So let's try if it is changed automatically. So we did that, and after that we press enter, and we can see yes, that works really well. So we can see every single amount we have that automatically converted to only two decimal. So that's really nice. So if I like to see any now, so if the customer said I like to see how much will be the repayment every month if I have interest rate 5%, 6%, 7%, 8%, so whatever they said, you can just change it. The figure will come automatically. All right, so this is the first one we have for the one variable. So now I'll go back to the book to have a look what happened if we change the two variables. So let's move on and have a look for the two variable. Okay, so the next one we have, they said for the two variable. Now let's try a two variable data table using the same workbook. This time we want to see the result if both the interest rate and the number of years of the loan change. So I would like to see not only the changes of the interest rate, I also like to see if I change the number of years. Let's say the loan is not for only 20 years. What happen if I take the loan for 15 years, maybe 10 years, maybe 30 years? So I want to change the number. So I have to see what will be the repayment if I change the interest rate and the number. So both variable at the same time. So let's have a look. Number one is just to rename the worksheet to one variable. Now selected worksheet two. So they said there is a new worksheet need to make, and we have to put this time two variable. All right, not a problem. Copy paste. We know how to do it. Then select the cell from E8 to A8. Actually, that means you have to select the whole range. So the range of data you like to change, you have to select the whole range of the data. You can do this by hovering over the select cell until the cross. So obviously it's better if you use the mouse. So you just hold it, you select the range of the data you like to do. Otherwise you can even click on your shift, and you can use the arrow sign to select the data. So it's not very difficult thing. In cell D10 to D14, insert different loan period. So they said this row put the different loan period, so the year. So they said we have used 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30 years. Now it's just for the example, we can use for 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. So how long the loan will be. So within how many years the loan will be repaid. Select cell D9 to N14. Then they said click data, what if analysis data table. So we know where it is. Then after that, here we want the data table to fill in the variable based on the result if the value in cell 3 were changed to a different percentage. So if I change the percentage, that means the interest rate and also the loan period, that is like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, what it is. So I have to change both cell. So column input cell and enter. So the input cell I'm going to enter C, and the column input cell I'm going to enter C5. So on the row it will be C3, the interest rate, that because this is on the top, and on this one on the column we're going to change it to C5. All right, so C5 is the low number of years. So let's have a look. Let's open this question. That will be make more sense if we do it on the Excel. So let's move on and let's have a look if you can see this question. All right, so we have this information. Now we want to see what will be the loan payment when the interest rate is 1% and the terms is 10 year, 2% 10 years, 3% 10 years. What happened for the 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, and the interest rate is changing. So this is my row column, this is my column. So that's my row, that's my column. We know this one. Now this one interest rate is the percentage, so this one linked to the row, and this one the period is linked to the column because we have a period in the column and we have a percentage in the row. So we're going to see this one will be changed, the variable for the row, and the amount of time, period of loan, that will have impact on the column. So let's have a look. Let's go to our data and what if analysis, data table, and they said this time select this one information. So we have selected that, and no, not going to select this. We have to select fast, then you have to go there. So you're going to select the data table, and from here they said click C3 on the row. So obviously going to do that. So C3 on the row. So we have row input. So I'm going to click C3, and they said on the column select the C5. So that's the column, the period of the loan. And after that they said click OK. So it's click OK, and now it gives me all this information in a second. Now if the client asks you how much will be my repayment if the loan is for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, and what is the percentage, so you can tell all the information in a second. So this one will link to the row, and this one link to the column. Obviously, as I said, you're not going to use it in every day if you are not working to the relevant sector. So if you work in the mortgage company or in the loan sector, maybe this will be the suitable formula for you to use every day. Otherwise, if you work in the finance, maybe you're going to hardly use this formula on the Excel. All right, so this is it. Let's have a look. Is there anything else there? So that will be look like that. They said so it's look like that, and after that we can do save the file. We know how to do it. Then the next point we have 4.2 again for the what if, but this time they said it will be based on the scenario. Okay, so they said the scenario function allow you to change. So on the what if we have three things. We have a data table, we have a scenario, and we have a goal seek. So all these three things is important if it is relevant to your work, but for the exam purpose we need to know, even though it doesn't come too much, only the goal seek is a very popular in the exam, but still we need to know all of this. So let's have a look the scenario what we have here. The scenario means like what happened if I change the scenario. For example, if I want, if I said like, for example, what if I change it and what if I don't change it? I want to see both. Let's say, for example, I want to see the both picture at the same time. So I want to say with the 10% interest, how much will be the capital repayment and how much will be the cost and everything. With the 15% interest, how much it will be. So I want to see both at the same time so that I can compare. And this is called scenario based. So let's have a look this one. The scenario form function allows you to change information in cell that affect the final total of the formula. That means we have to look at the final total. Let's say I have a 10, 10, 10, 10, 5, 10, and the 5, 10 total is 50, isn't it? So this one, this 50 will have impact on this all 5, 5, 5. So for example, let's say I have a 5, 5, 5 and 5, let's say 20, and I make here the auto sum. Now all these are dependent on this 20, so 20 is depends on them. If I change any of these, the 20 will be changed. For example, if I make 5 0, this will be 15. So that means 20 is a depends on this information. This is very important when the information is linked. So obviously I want to see what happened if I change the figure. So what will happen, they said what will be the effect on the final total. So the final total means the total of this balance. To prepare instant report showing, so they said we can also prepare the report from the scenario function. We'll be able to prepare the report as well. Okay, using the spreadsheet costing exercise finished. So we have a template that is called costing exercise finished. We have done last time this one for the costing purpose, but now we're going to see for the what if purpose. So let's have a look. This one we can find, and after that we're going to do all of this. What are the changes here? They said charge out rate for accounting technician is now 30, maybe before it was something else, but they said now change it to 30. So I want to see what happen if I change the rate from 25 to 30, for example, or what happen if I change the cost of the laptop from 100 to 115, and what happen if the interest rate changed from 10 to 8%. So I can change any person. I like to see what is the original one and what is the new one. I want to see the both picture. You could simply change the relevant cell in the spreadsheet to reflect these changes in assumption. However, we are going to use scenario manager function. Now you might think, what's the point I have to use the formula? I can easily change it. So if I change it manually, all the thing will be changed automatically. That's true. But obviously the formula will help you more if you understand how it works. So maybe in future you will like more formula rather than you do it manually. Okay, let's have a look. Illustration number 9, example number 9. We have using the scenario function. Select the data tab from the data tools and what if then scenario manager. So then after that they said click add and give the scenario an appropriate name. For example, original costing exercise. So I'm creating the first sheet that is called original costing exercise. Press the tab button or click on the changing cell, so it will be like that. Based on the information we have used above, select the cell with the changing data. Ignore the change to the opening bank balance. To select the cell that are not be that are not next to each other, use the control button. You should control and click before B6 and B7. Is quite easy. So for example, if I like to select, let's say for example, if we have a cell, let's say A, B, and C. Now I only like to select A and C, not the B. So I'll hold the control on my keyboard, and after that I'll click here and click here, and this two will be selected. And if I press Control C, so this two only will be copy, not the B. So if I like to select the selective range of data, so I can hold the control and I can select the data or the cell I like to copy. So they are saying that anyway, we know it. And after that, they said click OK. So one scenario done, they said that will be the original costing scenario. After that, they said you are now asked for the scenario value. This will show the value currently in the cell specified, which are our original figure. So click OK. So obviously they said it should be look like that. So it's the original figure, is without change. So before the change, our this information for the B4 it was this, C4 and B6 and the B7 was this. So that's the original one. I didn't change anything yet. After that, they said we now need to enter our new value. What is the new value? They said we have to change these three. So what is the new value? Click add and type in new name. They said costing exercise 2. So make a new name, costing exercise 2. The changing cell box will already contain the correct cell. So this one is already contain the correct cell because I have done the original before. Click OK. In the scenario values box, change the value. So I want to change the this one 30 and 115 and 8%. The three information I like to change. And after that, they said it will be look like that. And after that, I'll be able to see both by clicking the showing. So let's have a look. And also they said we can click the summary to see the report. So I think we can open the Excel sheet now. We'll see how it will work. So let's move on. Costing exercise. And we'll try to see how does it work. Okay, so this is our costing exercise. That's from the template we have done. This is called costing exercise finished. You will see it on the downloaded file is already there. So what we're going to do, we're going to do the scenario based one. So let's have a look. First, we're going to click the data and we're going to click what if analysis, and we're going to select this time scenario manager. So we have something already there. I'm going to delete that. So on the scenario manager, the first one they said click add. So I'm going to click add and they said write a new scenario name, and the question said write it down, original costing exercise. I'm going to type that, or a original costing exercise. So that's my original costing exercise. All right. Then after that, they said on the cell, changing cell, select B4, B6, and B7. So I'm going to change this one. So I'm going to change this one. I'm going to hold my control because I need to select three cells. So I'm holding my control. I'm going to select B4. So that's my B, that's my 4, B4. And after that, I'm going to select B6. So B6. And I'm going to select B7. B7. So that's my original worksheet. And after that, they said click OK. So I'm going to click OK. After that, they said this scenario will come. That's my original worksheet. On the original one, I can see my accounting technician rate is 21.45. Then my laptop price is 100 and the interest rate is 10%. So all is okay. So I'm going to say okay because that's my original worksheet. Now I can see my original worksheet is here. So there is no problem for that. Now I'm going to make the new scenario. I like to see what happens if I change something, what will be the scenario. So I like to say now add again. So I'm going to say add. And this time I'm going to give the new name. They said give the new name, and the name will be origin costing exercise 2. So I'm going to write costing exercise 2. And the range is already selected. I don't have to do anything. And I'm going to click OK. And after that, they'll ask me what I like to change. So I like to change three things, isn't it? I like to say the rate for the accounting technician will be 30. The laptop cost will be 115, not 100, 115. And the interest rate will be 8%. So that will be 0.08. That's my changes. And if I said, okay, and it will give me now two scenarios. You can see I have a one original costing exercise and we have original costing two. So if I click show, you can see this one is showing the original figure that I haven't done anything changes. Now if I click this one, and I like to say what will be the changes as soon as I make changes these three data. So I click show, you see all these changes. So it's now changed to 30. This one laptop is 115 and the interest rate is 8%. Because of that, the total figure is changed. So I can see this one. Oh, my original sheet is this, and I want to see this one for that. So I need to click the show. So if I go back, click there and click show, it will show me that. If I like to see what is the changes I make, I want to see what is the amount, I can click there. So every time I do that, it will give me the figure or amount I like to see based on my requirement. It's quite important and quite interesting if you can really use it on your workplace. If you think this one is really this is the one you are looking for your workplace, and you can decide like where I can fix it, where I can use it, and you can have it and you save it forever. So every time you change, you can see it there. All right, the next option is says you can show the summary. So it said click the data and what if analysis and select the scenario manager, and after that they said there's something called summary. I can see here the summary, and if I click the summary, they said it will show me the total. So all this thing, if I added all of this, that's my total, isn't it? 10,349 is the total of all of this data. So we need to see the total value of the worksheet. So if I said okay, it will show me the worksheet. It will show me what is the summary of these things. So the current value, original costing, that's one we make, and the costing exercise 2. All of these things we'll be able to see. Okay, so let's have a look this one again. So I think we have done this one. So let's move on to our next exercise. What are they saying from here? So I think this is the one they said for our what if analysis. So they said click on the data, then data analysis and scenario manager, and click the summary button, and it will be look like that. So we know how to make it. So this is the second thing we have seen for the what if analysis. The next one we're going to see that is called goal seek. Goal seek. Now goal seek is again is with the what if analysis function. So let's read that what they're asking here. They are saying here, what if you already know the result you want from a formula, but not the value of the formula itself need to be calculated the result. In this case, you should use the goal seek function, which is located in the data in the data table and goal seek. So okay, that's fine. Still, we are not clear what they mean. If I know the result, let's have a look. What is the question here? Open the original mortgage spreadsheet from the download file. Okay, let's assume that we have enough income to make a monthly mortgage payment 300. So that means I have a mortgage and I am able to pay 300 pound every month for the mortgage, and want to know how many years it will take to pay off the mortgage. So basically, I went to the bank and I said, I can pay 300 pound mortgage. Can you tell me how long it's gonna take to pay off all my liabilities? So they said you can use the goal seek for that. So let's have a look. What is the question here? So it says copy the data on sheet 1, paste it in sheet 2, click the data what if analysis goal seek, enter D9 at the set cell as this is the figure we know, and enter minus 300 to the value. So basically they're asking to enter the cell value where we can see this one, where you're going to change this one. All right, then after that, they said enter minus 300 because I'm going to pay every month 300, isn't it? So that should reduce the total value and the years as well. Enter C5 in the by changing cell as this is the figure we are looking for. So obviously on the buy cell, I'm going to change this figure. So this one I like to change. This is the year period of loan, and I like to see if I pay 300 every month, for how many years I'm going to pay everything. And press OK. So it will show you how many years is need. It says like after that 8.14 years will be shown in the cell C5. That means they said if I can pay 300 pound every month, I will be able to pay off all the loan within 8.4 years. All right, let's have a look if we can do it. So let's find where is the question. So we'll go there, we'll find the question first, and we can see that's our question for the goal seek or whatever is here. Okay, so let's have a look. What is the question here? They said the question is saying interest rate is 10%, amount of loan is 20,000, and the period of loan is 20 years, and to calculate the monthly repayment over a reducing balance lasting for the year. So I like to say if I pay some money every month, how long is gonna take to pay off the debt? So I said, all right, that's fine. That's not a problem. We can always look at that with the goal seek. So they said go to the goal seek. So I'm gonna go data, what if, click the goal seek this time. And on the goal seek, they said click the first one. They said enter D9 at the set cell. So that my set cell. So this is the cell I want to say. This one I like to change. So currently we are paying 193, isn't it? Currently we are paying 193, but we like to change it. And that will be my set cell. So I'll go back goal seek. So my set cell will be this one, D9. I want to change this amount to see what will happen. Then to value means how much I can afford to pay to reduce this amount. So I would say I can pay 300. You can write any figure. The question is saying 300. That's why I'm writing 300. But make sure you write the minus because I want to reduce my value. If I pay, my total liability will go down. And by changing the which cell, and by changing the cell of C5, because I want to change the year. I want to see how many years it will take if I pay 300 rather than 193. So what happened on the set cell? I want to change this one, so that's why I write 193. So that is D9, and how much I want to pay 300, and what I'm looking for to change. I'm looking for to change the year, how many years it will take if I pay 300, not 193. And after that, I'll click OK, and the goal seek will look for me. And after the goal seek telling me if you pay 300 every month, it will take the goal seek find a solution for you. I said okay, and it will take me 8.14 years. So that means if I able to pay £300 every month, within 8 years, 8.14 years, my liability will be finished. Now you can try with any amount, you can try with any repayment option. So for example, if your client come to you for a mortgage and said, I like to pay not 300, 500, how long is going to take? So you can say in a minute. So you just put the interest rate here, and you put the total amount, and you put the year, and use the goal seek, and you can say this year it will take to finish it off. So anything you need to calculate, you just put the information, and the software or this formula will calculate this one automatically for you. All right, this is the goal seek we have. Let's move on. Let's have a look what else we have. So goal seek. So goal seek is quite common in the exam. But most of the exam for the synoptic, the goal seek is always there. So they give you, for example, a management accounting question, and they will say, I like to see the profit 10,000. So how much fixed cost I need to reduce? So you need to know how does it work. But you will do more. We will do more practice on the synoptic when you do the next week the synoptic lesson. When you do that, and I'll show you like how exactly synoptic question come in the exam and how can we solve this. We have a linear regression. Is not very common, but we can quickly see one of the example. Illustration 10, there's a trend line. So now trend line is all about the scatter diagram. So you want to see what is the movement of your sale or your income or your expense. So you can show it in a like trend line. Is it going up, going down? It's like when you have a currency, if you have a share market, it shows the trend line going up, going down. So this one you can show in the chart scatter diagram. So let's have a look at this example. So trend lines, open the spreadsheet called cost volume and draw a scatter graph showing cost against the volume with appropriate labels and the legends. Select the range B1 to C7. Okay, so we need to select the B1 to C7. We'll do that. And after that, they said using the insert chart ribbon, choose the scatter diagram. After that, they say the straight line through the points has been manually drawn here to show that clearly, but it's not on the question. So basically, they are saying this line, they just make it manually so that they can show you more clearly. But when you make this scatter diagram, it will not come. All right, so let's have a look at this one, what we have here. So this one is says cost volume. So open the spreadsheet called cost volume. Let's have a look. We have it or not. Cost volume, yes. So we have this one open already. Cost and volume. So we're gonna choose that. Okay, so in this one, so we have to select the range of data. So B1 to C7. So B1 to C7. So you have select this range of data, and after that they said go to the insert. So I'm going to go insert. And after that, they said choose the scatter diagram. So this one is a scatter. So there's a lot of like thing. It's called a scatter diagram. And I click it. I can choose the first one. That is a scatter diagram. Now there is a lot of format for your scatter diagram or the chart. I'm not going to discuss too much because there will be not hard question in the exam for the chart. They'll ask you to make a pie chart. They will ask you to make a bar chart. They're not going to ask you too many things for the chart, but there's a lot of chart in the insert section. You can spend your time learn a lot of thing about the chart. So there is a lot of thing. You can change the color. You can change the way you want. There's a lot of thing here. Anyway, so we'll move on this one. So this one is just to show how to make a scatter diagram, and I'm sure it's not the difficult one, so always all of you can do that. All right, let's move on to the next thing we have. The next thing we're going to check, this one we're not going to do. This is just the statistics, like how to make the mean, medium, average. This one will never come in the exam. So even if it is come, you just select the format and you enter the mean, medium, it will come there. Now histogram is not very common, to be honest. It's just again the chart type. So you're not going to do charts too much. There's a lot of different sort of chart. You can always look yourself. So let's have a look at this one. The next point we're going to talk about that is called the error detection and the correction. So here we're going to see how we're going to check the error and the correct. Now there are few way we can see it is the right way, or I can do the audit. So let's have a look what we have this information here. So it is important to try to detect and correct error before a spreadsheet is used to make a decision. We have already looked at some way of trying to prevent wrong input. For example, data validation. So if you remember the formula we have done last week, data validation, there we said like if we put the wrong data, the system will refuse us to enter the data. So we said like we can put some condition. If you remember, we said like you cannot work more than 60 hours a week. So if you try to put 70, it said no, we cannot do it, it's too high. So you can always set this type of a condition in the worksheet, and if you try to change it, it will give you the warning, or you can it will be stopped by the person. You can do read only, you can do the password. There's a lot of way you can put the security and make the correction on the system. The final part of the chapter makes a built-in facility error message and a way to check a spreadsheet. Okay, so that is the help section. They said if you type here, you can always click on the F1 and it will take you to the help section, and it will tell you how to sort it out. For example, if you try to use a formula, sometimes the value information comes, sometimes it's a error, sometimes NA come. So you need to understand the meaning of that. If you understand the meaning of that, you will be able to correct it. So let's have a look what is the next thing we have here. So using trace precedent. So how are we going to use the trace precedent? Even this one is not very common in the real life. We don't use too much, but if you think in your workplace, you have to check it at every time, like what is the range of the data you have selected. You can always use that. There is nothing wrong with that. It depends on the organization requirement. Maybe the work you do, you have to always check the data by auditing. You can always do that if you like, but for the exam purpose, it's not very common to come in the exam. Let's read this one. Tracing precedent and the dependent. As spreadsheets are developed, it can become difficult to be sure where figures coming from and to go. So for example, if I have £100, maybe this £100 have a lot of impact. Maybe we have a lot of data and this 100 is depend on that. For example, I have a 200, then I minus 100 and the result is 100. So if I change the dependent variable, this 100 will be changed. All right, a useful technique is to make use of the trace precedent and trace dependent option. These are variable on the formula function on the ribbon. Okay, so on the formula section, you have to click on the formula. We can see there. All right, let's have a look. This one, it says illustration 13, auditing formula. Open precedent example. So there is example called precedent example spreadsheet from the download file and make cell F4 active. So the F4, so you have to see F and 4 for the total one. We need to click this one to make it active. Then after that, choose the formula section of the ribbon and click on the trace precedent in the formula auditing group of the icon. So I have to see how come I end up with this data that is 7621. That's my total, isn't it? But you can see this is not the total of B, A, B, C, D, E. It's just the total of B, C, and D. There is no information in the A. So if I like to see what is the breakdown of this total 7621, if I click this one, trace precedent, it will show me these boxes. So it will tell me this boxes information total gives you 7621. So it will tell you I have added under these boxes, so they will make the boxes and they will tell you this the data is there on the 7621. This is called trace precedent. Now it is very obviously that anything in column E, this is the column E, like April figure. So we have a January, February, March. So if I like to enter any April figure, will not be including the total. It's not on the total because you can see we have this information. So we just added A, B, C, January, February, March. So that's why the box is on only this three figure, not on the E. Click on remove arrow in the formula auditing group. So there is something called remove arrow. We can click there, so it will be gone. After that, make before the active cell again. So I'm going to make the before this time active cell, this one. Click on the trace dependent. That's why I'm not this time I'm not going to use the precedent. I'm going to use the dependence. Dependent means this cell, this before on depends on how many cells, so how many cell it is connected. So it will show after this. So you can see if I change this one, this figure b4, this total will be changed and this total will be changed. So that means this two amount depends on that. So this is called dependent, trace dependent. So if I change the b4, this one 9858 and 7621 will be changed because this is the total, isn't it? So these two will have impact the total function. All right, so let's have a look. Let's open this one. Let's have a look if we have this one. So let's try to open that precedent example. So I'm gonna open this one. Let's say yes, we have opened it here. All right, so you can see this is the example they're saying. The first one, they said click on the total one. So let me open the question. So we have here, okay, so they said uh, precedent example, formula selection ribbon and formula auditing. But before that they said F4 active. So that's my F and that's my 4. So F4, I'm going to make active F4 first. And after that they said go to the formula, and on the formula we have something called trace dependent. You can see in the top trace precedent. Trace precedent, I'll click that and it will show me how come I end up with this figure 7621. I can see they said 1 2 3. So inside of the box this three figure together makes 7621. So you understand this is the total figure. So every time, for example, if you want to check this total combine of what, and you can always click that and it will tell you like, oh, this is the combination and this is makes the total. And after that they said remove arrow. So there is something called remove arrow. We click here, then it will be gone. And after that they said we're going to check the trace dependence, this one, the next one, trace dependence. So they said this time active the cell before, and I want to see which one is depends on that cell. So this total and this total both are depends on that cell, isn't it? Because if I change this one, this all total will be changed. This total will be changed, this total will be changed because this is the total of this is the total of this. So I'm going to say this one before, and they said after that click the trace dependence. I'm click that. So it will show me if I change this one, this box, this figure will be changed and this one will be changed. It's a very, very nice thing. So if I click this one, so my this two information depend on this one. So if I change that, this two will be changed automatically. So that's very nice thing. If you need to use it, if you think is if this the work is relevant to you, you can use it. But for the exam purpose, maybe it's not going to be very common to you. All right, so let's move on to the next section. Let's have a look what else we have. Then we have a rounding up error. Now rounding up is quite easy. I'm not sure I have the open file or not for that. So now we don't have the rounding up. So I will quickly show what does that mean. Rounding up means like you can make it total. Now the round, you can make it either round up or round down. So rounding error is happen. For example, let's say I have a two example. Let's say here, I have a two example here. So that this one is at 159.66. And if I make a round it, so it will come 160. Now, why it is 160? All of us we know after the dot, if it is more than 5, then it will be added automatically 0. So if I make it round it up, if I don't put any decimal, if I said without decimal, then it will round to me up, depends on it is more than 0.5, less than 0.5. Now, if you like to change it, for example, if you said, if it is 159, whatever it is, I will round not up, I'll round down. So I'll round down to 159. So even though it is 159.99, I still like to round it down to 159. So you can do that. Or you say, no, I want to make it like round up. So if it is more than that, I'll make it round up on the top. So you can always do that. So this is, I think, very simple. We can always see that. Let's have a look one of the maybe example. How's it work? Let's say I'm writing here 50 point, let's say 55. Now 50.55. If I like to round it up or down, so I put the equal sign, and after that I type round, 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 and I can make it up or down. So let's make it down first. See if I make it rounded down. So you can see here we have a this cell, and after that I need to see what I want round down to what. So I want to round it down, the after the comma or after the dot I want to make it 0. So if I said comma here, and if I put 0, and it should round it down to 55. So you can see here round it down to 50. So even though it is 50.55, but still I want it rounded down to 50, so it will go to round it down. If I round it up, what I do, I just change it to round it up. So I said round up, and it should work like that. It will make me 51 because it is more than 55. So it depends on the requirement. If you said I don't want to make it like when it will be more than 5 after point, so I don't want to make it up or down, I want to round, you can round it, so it will be 60. If you can do it from here as well. So on the home section, you have a little to arrow. You can always add decimal or decrease the decimal or increase the decimal from here, so you can always use that as well. All right, the next point, let's have a look what we have here. We have some identifying error values. So let's have a look. How can we identify the error values? There is some thing here, the name, and they said that will mean what you mean. So what does that mean of this error? Identifying error and the value. They said error checking can be turned by the file button, Excel option, formula, and checking enable background error checking. So you can always turn it on. There is a list that allow you to decide which error to be highlighted. If a green triangle appear in a cell, then the cell contain an error. So if there is a green triangle come, that's it. Or this one, I think this one, the green triangle come, is there's an error. But sometimes I have seen the red come as well. Okay, let's have a look. What is the other information we have? Other information about the nature of the error will also be supplied. So what type of error it is. So based on the error information, we can little bit think, even it is not always correct, but we can guess what type of error it is. Let's have a look. If you have this number hash, so if you see there's a lot of hash on this box and there is no number, so that means the column is not wide enough. So the column is small, it's not wide enough. So if you double click or if you make it a little bit move, then the number will come because the column is too small, so the information cannot visible. Widen the column or choose another format or display the number so your information will be clear. So obviously that's how we can solve this problem. If you see this one, most likely the column is really small and you need to make it a little bit wide. If you see on the error section div divide by 0, that means commonly used by the formula attempting to divide a number by 0. So if you have something and you try to divide by the 0, this information will come. Perhaps because the divisor cell is a blank, so maybe the information you try to divide, this is a blank. If it is a blank, this information will come. So if this error is come, you understand something is blank, so that means you have to change it. Then the values occur when a mathematical formula refer to a cell contain text. For example, if this error come, it shows like value. If you try to use the formula and in the bracket is so value, that means say occur when a mathematical formula refers to a cell containing text. Example, if cell A2 contain text, then the formula will be A1 plus B1 plus C1 will return the value. So that means if I want to add something 1 to 3, and maybe on the 1, the first box I write 1, O and E1. In the other two box we have a number 2 and 3. So 2 and 3. So that means the first one come with a text and the next one come with a number. So it will not matching. So if it is not matching, if we have a text in a box, it will come like that. The error will be like a values. Then the name. If the error box come with the name, it says the formula contain text that is not a valid cell address, range name, or function name. Check the spelling of any function used. Example, by looking through function under the formula and insert function. So obviously if this is happen, then we know like what does that mean. So on the error section, if this is come, that means there's something wrong with the name. So check the spelling of any function. Then we have a reference. So if this one come on the error box, a reference ref, that means the formula include an invalid cell reference. So that means I try to use something and this is not connected with that cell. So this one will come reference. So for example, if I use a VLOOKUP and let's say this information I collected from the another worksheet, and somehow this worksheet I have deleted. And now because of that, my current worksheet is the information is gone, where this is linked to the previous worksheet. So that's why this one will come, this error will come reference ref. Then num number, this error is caused by the invalid numeric value being supplied to a worksheet formula or function. For example, using a negative number with the square root function. So if you use the negative number, it will come. Then NA, that is quite common in the error section. A value is not found or a value is not available to a function or formula. For example, omitting a required argument from a spreadsheet function. Again, the formula auditing toolbar may help to investigate the process. Then we have here tracing and correcting the error. So if you do see one of the above errors, so any of this thing we have discussed, if you see one of these, then what will happen? You can trace where it come from by clicking on the cell with the error. Then from the formula tab of the ribbon, choose formula auditing, the one we have done, the trace dependent or the trace preceding. Click the down arrow next to the error checking. Lines will appear pointing to the data that has produced the error. If you simply click the error checking button, it will automatically check the current worksheet and alert you to any error. Finally, you can click evaluate formula to be taken step by step through it so that you can identify the error. So there is a few way you can check where is the mistake and you can try to solve it out. Then we have reporting accounting information. You will be able to use a variety of tools and have developed your skill in using the spreadsheet to analyze and present data. In the exam, it is vital that your answer in the question following closely an instruction regarding presentation and data to be analyzed. Sometimes the question may specifically like the type of presentation, table, graph, chart. They can ask for anything. The examiner will ask you to use your own judgment on how to be best present. So they'll ask you, they're not going to tell you use the if function or what if. They'll choose you like what you think most suitable, take that. So you can take the most suitable one because the synoptic exam will be marked by the human also. So obviously they will see which formula you have used. You may be tested on your ability to be able to differentiate between the information is required and what will not did your answer in the question. Practice using the spreadsheet tool using the illustration example and test your understanding will be provided. Ensure that you can organize, analyze and present the data in the most efficient and appropriate manner. The 10 practice activities at the end of the book will be give valuable practice in the making the judgment to apply. So you'll see like data you have downloaded the zip file for the Excel, there is something called practice question, the practice activities. So if you practice all these activities, not the chapter one, we have a two folder, one in chapter activities, one is the practice activities. So there is a question and there is answer as well. So if you practice this yourself, there's every single formula is there. Somehow they used every single formula there. So if you can do yourself that one, so that means you are very good so far. So I think this is the end of the chapter we have so far for the spreadsheet that we have done from our last few weeks of the lesson. And I think if you are understand this, it will be absolutely brilliant for our synoptic exam.